And I bring you greetings as I think among the oldest activists from Savar. There were 1,452 of us from 75 countries and 17 states of India. And we had a wonderful 5-day gathering. And I bring you greetings from that because the gift to all of you was this book, which the People's Charter, which Carmen has just recently explained to you, because this is the manifesto of the movement which formed in Bangladesh. It was very interesting. We had 100 sessions, and from each session, one idea came, and that is how the Charter Committee put this charter together. Every evening, we all met and we sang and celebrated because health is a celebration. It's not only a struggle. And we had a lovely time together, and all of us bonded for years after that and have kept in touch with each other. Therefore, I bring you greetings from Savar. I think it's important for you to understand that after the Bible, this is the most translated document in the whole world. There are 50 translations on our website, and many more will come. So if you want to reach it not only in Spanish, but in Mauritian, Creole, or you want to read it in Quechua, it is all there. And I think all of you who attend this meeting today should find the charter in your own language and read it and feel connected with this movement, which is 23 years old.
In Cuenca, Ecuador, we were called by the Voices of Earth, representatives of 105 countries, children, young people, the elders, ancestral peoples, women's movements. All of them added 5,000 participants in Cuenca, which was flooded by the participants, and joy was multiplied. The Voices of Earth summoned us in Cuenca to celebrate the Second World Assembly of the People's Health Movement. And during that time, we listened, we felt, we lived to keep on walking towards health and freedom. We caught the message of children and youth through their direct participation in the Global Children's Forum and in the Global Youth Forum. And we activated the secret of their dreams and illusions, and we understood that the voices of the peoples are not of sorrow, but rather of hope, unity, and action. And in that time, we felt the assembly was transforming lives, and that the arts of the earth were transmitting strength and passion to recover hope. Cuenca was a special benchmark to ratify that health is also joy, dignity, solidarity, among others. And we heard the echoes of the ancestral peoples, of the elders, of the grandparents. We were moved by 20,000 letters written by children from different regions of Latin America. We were moved through their message, asking for peace, asking to cease fire, and to let the kids keep on playing. And in that time, testimonies were recorded in our bodies. We had the opportunity to contemplate and feel and be moved by the words of John McDonough, a Canadian Englishman who went blind after a disease and who stated that in Cuenca he learned to see again through energy, passion, vibrations of all the participants.
The first PHA was the dream of PHM, where we started trying to envision what we wanted. The second one was the emerging of a possibility. And the third one was where we had the beginnings of a truly global movement with thematic circles, the formation of the thematic circles beginning, the recognition that this was an assembly which gave direction to the movement. There was an there's important to recognize, and especially with acknowledging this launch, that the energy that goes into the assembly starts before the assembly, and that is what starts building up as one prepares for the assembly. So with PHA 3, we had and any assembly, you've got to take account of the local context, and Arturo's just spoken about some of what they did at PHA 2 for the local context. the local context has to be partnered with in order to, or the local community has to be partnered with in order to build up the energy of the movement, to make it worthwhile within that area. Pre-assembly events from launching. The program also has to be globally driven but informed by the local context, because you will have more people from the local at any assembly, as we did with PHA. There were more from Africa than anywhere. It's an opportunity of opposites and celebrating those opposites, but it's always for the people. So it's a combination of deep reflection, but also looking forward. And how do we start building this into the movement? How did we leave PHA and make sure that we don't walk away and leave those rich days behind? It's highlighting problems through reflection, through hearing stories, through hearing voices of the people, but it is also looking at opportunities and how do we confront those problems. Then the assembly was held in the midst of a global crisis, which at the moment, I think, with what is going on in Palestine, is one of the worst global crises that could possibly be happening. But all of our assemblies were embraced in some sort of a global crisis. And it's an opportunity to consolidate, strengthen, strategize, and build the movement centered around the crises that there is in the world. We celebrated achievements. We envisioned a different future. We reflected, debated concerns, the political economy, etc. And all of our debates carried on into the evening, because the assembly doesn't end when the last session ends. It continues into the evening, and it's important to build that in. The strength of the core organizing team is really, really important. So much has to be given to support that core team to be able to hold this assembly and move it forward. It starts before the assembly. It becomes really, really intense during the assembly. And just when you think you really need a break, you have to start embracing how do we make sure that the energy doesn't terminate and dissipate at the time that the assembly ends.
So, and maybe I just would like to continue the list that Bridget started, and say that if we're talking about the PHA4, then I would think it's fair to say that that's the assembly when PHM started to show strength, not only outwards, but also inside the movement. It was, I would say, a difficult assembly in many ways, but it also was a very wonderful assembly. Difficult because we all know that there were very serious issues which arose just as the assembly was about to start. It was very uncertain if it would happen at all, or in which conditions it would happen. But thanks to the comrades who were working there tirelessly over the months before, it actually did manage to go through. And it was a source of inspiration for many activists who joined there. It was also difficult, of course, because shortly after the PHA4, we lost both Amit Sengupta and David Sanders. But on the other hand, it was an occasion for me, and I think for many people from PHM Europe, for many other activists who had joined the People's Health movement in the years leading up to that assembly, to see both Amit and David working with activists of different ages, of different parts of the world, and just showing how powerful a health movement can be.
In this episode of Charter4Health, we address the holding of the 5th People's Health Assembly in Mar del Plata, Argentina in April 2024. Its discussions, scope, and logistical, financial, and political challenges involved in its organization. Welcome to Charter4Health, a PHM podcast series on the right to health. Hear the voices and insights of health rights defenders at the forefront of the struggle for health for all from around the world. I am your host, Miguel Garcia, and this is Charter4Health, a podcast series from PHM Global. Follow and share from wherever you are on iVoox, or go to our website, phmovement.org. We are the People's Health Movement. Join us in the struggle for health for all. A special guest for a special episode of the Charter4Health podcast, Carmen Báez, co-convenor of the PHA5. She's also co-coordinator of the PHM Latin America South Sub-region. She's a longtime activist and a medical doctor. She was part of the Argentinian exiles in Africa. Her experience, exile transformed into solidarity, studying by doing and providing health through love and play. Hello, Carmen. Welcome to the program. I want to start by asking you, how did the movement came to make this PHA5 after almost 6 years since the last one and with a pandemic in the middle? What were the discussions that took place during the assembly?
Yes, our movement was born 24 years ago, and the function of movement is from the bottom to the top. So we have circles going on, thematic circles, global going on, and every 5 years we meet all together to discuss issues and to discuss strategies that will define the way to go all together globally and what we are in common and continue. We came to the fifth assembly. The last one was in 2018 in Bangladesh. This year was decided to be done in Latin America. We, as Argentinians, we presented our application because there were some requisitions, and we did it in a way that we never thought we are going to get it, because we know we are in the south of the south, and it's going to be very expensive to the movement to move all the activists to our country. But things happen in a way that we got it, and we have the themes that they were already defined for this assembly, that they were part of our request for many years. One of them is about popular knowledge and ancestral knowledge, that our networks locally, they are very interested in this approach, because we believe in the South that the answers for an alternative world, they are in the sense of the buen vivir. Buen vivir means an alternative way based on the knowledge and the practices and the wisdom of the indigenous people. And that was verified during pandemic, that people managed to handle their life with all this knowledge that I have mentioned. So we were very, very keen and very willing to be part, that this axis will be present in our assembly. Also, we have good practices and important praxis in our region in terms of food sovereignty and nutrition, as we call the axis and in the movement. In our region, we have university networks of different expressions of food sovereignty practices, can be from a little garden to courses and different expressions. So we have many experiences to share with the world. So for us was also very important, this axis, not to mention the other axes that they were also important. So we thought that we came to this assembly with very common interest, but particular interest from the region that we wanted to promote within the movement. And this is why we were activating, and we decided to have thematic circles locally that is not existing in the rest of the movement. Julio Monsalvo region is our region. It covers 4 countries, which is Paraguay, Chile, Argentina, and Uruguay. And we decided that this is the way to go, and it was a collective decision, and that make our enthusiasm for us to be part be the driving force of this assembly. But being the driving force, when you are interested in the themes, your everyday is part of it as well.
You're listening to a special edition of Charter4Health, talking about the 5th People's Health Assembly. Stay with us.
We are the People's Health Movement. PHM brings together health rights activists and organizations from around the world.
For over 2 decades, PHM Health defenders have been at the forefront of the struggle for health for all.
We maintain an independent voice without fear or favor.
But now, we need you to stand with us.
We need your support to continue our critical and independent intervention on all health matters.
To contribute to our cause, go to our website, phmovement.org, and find out how.
Contribute
and say
proudly
that you support
health
for all.
Health for all.
Health for all.
Health for all.
Health for all.
Follow the discussions on health issues at the World Health Organization on the WHO Tracker website. Through the WHO Tracker, PHM closely follows the work of the World Health Organization and prepares commentaries on agenda items at the WHO governing body meetings. These include background and critical health perspective analysis with recommendations for policymakers and civil society. Visit the WHO Tracker on the People's Health Movement website at phmovement.org. Join us in the struggle for health for all.
Are you tired, puzzled, and unsatisfied by how the corporate media covers health? Read, share, and subscribe to the People's Health Dispatch, a fortnightly bulletin published by the People's Dispatch and People's Health Movement, focusing on the politics of health and the struggle for the right to health, especially in the Global South. I am Ana Bracha, editor at the People's Health Dispatch. Remember, click, read, share, and subscribe.
What is your take or your balance of this fifth assembly after the other four previous assemblies?
Yeah, things have changed from one assembly to other assembly. They have changed from the beginning, but the People's Health Charter in 2000 still valid. It's still valid. However, there are many other issues. They are coming in, and we have discussed them now. But as I was saying before, we have the path through the Buen Vivir as an alternative world, that we know this is the way to go, and we need to, with our experiences of every day within the movement, for all places in the world that we heard in those days, today is the fourth day of the assembly, we are giving the example to the world that it's possible to do things in a different way, and that we can start. We are actually building a new, different society. Ecosystems, was saying Julio Monsalvo, different experiences in different places that can show the world that it's possible to do it in that way. So my balance is positive. My balance is that we still are a very vibrant social movement, unique movement of the civil society in the world. We have been able to include academics committed with the social justice, together with activists, social movements, and different stakeholders, to interpret this crisis, to analyze and debate the crisis and find together alternative ways and strategies. It's positive that in this moment in Argentina we managed to do it. Until now we haven't got any problems, but we hope that it will not be. And logistically was a huge challenge for us, because when we have Mar del Plata, it's only 4 or 5 hours from Buenos Aires. But even ourselves, we haven't measured the logistic exercise to bring all this number of people to Mar del Plata and taking them back to their homes safely, first of all. So we didn't know if Wi-Fi is going to work, but we know for other assemblies that if you don't have Wi-Fi, you have activists that will translate the interventions, and we will communicate with hands, and we will hug each other, and at the same time we are going to spread this activism that we have one to each other for us to continue the struggle for health for all.
Well, thank you, Carmen.
You're welcome.
We are the People's Health Movement, bringing together health rights activists from around the world. Join us in the struggle for health for all. This episode of Charter4Health was produced by Annelyn de Coquelar, Ana Bracha, and David Verstock. Editing by Luisa Fernanda Viatala. Technical support by James Von Duren, Edwin Olsin, Gabriela Tomash, and Esmeralda Ramos. Special thanks to Ravi Nayaran, Arturo Quispe, Bridget Lloyd, and Ana Bracha, health activist, PHM members, and co-organizer of historic People's Health Assemblies. My name is Miguel Garcia, and this is Charter4Health, a PHM podcast. You can find much more about PHM and its call to action by logging into our website, phmovement.org. This is a People's Health Movement production.
We
are the People's Health Movement.
PHM brings together health rights activists and organizations from around the world.
For over 2 decades, PHM Health defenders have been at the forefront of the struggle for health for all.
We maintain an independent voice without fear or favor.
But now we need you to stand with us.
We need your support to continue our critical and independent intervention on all health matters.
To contribute to our cause, go to our website, phmovement.org, and find out how.
Contribute
and say
proudly
that you support
health
for all.
Health for all.
Health for all.
Health for all.
Health for all.
Follow the discussions on health issues at the World Health Organization on the WHO Tracker website. Through the WHO Tracker, PHM closely follows the work of the World Health Organization and prepares commentaries on agenda items at the WHO governing body meetings. These include background and critical health perspective analysis with recommendations for policymakers and civil society. Visit the WHO Tracker on the People's Health Movement website at phmovement.org. Join us in the struggle for health for all.
Hey everyone, I'm Chiara Bodini, co-editor of the Global Health Watch 6, flagship publication of the People's Health Movement. I am also a producer of the GHW podcast. Listen to the first season of our podcast in English, Spanish, French, and Arabic on iVox. You can also go to our website phmovement.org/GHW-podcast.
Are you tired, puzzled, and unsatisfied by how the corporate media covers health? Read, share, and subscribe to the People's Health Dispatch, a fortnightly bulletin published by the People's Dispatch and People's Health Movement, focusing on the politics of health and the struggle for the right to health, especially in the Global South. I am Ana Bracha, editor at the People's Health Dispatch. Remember, click, read, share, and subscribe.
So, do we want to adopt the call to action? Do we say yes?